I'm Steve Brett from Presentation Tune-Ups. I'd like to talk to you about getting to the truth. The truth, such an elusive concept. You read the papers every day, you're on social media, you're looking at Twitter. You don't know what the truth is. We argue about the truth, what it is, what it means, where we are. We are so polarized because we seem not to be able to agree on the truth. So this is chapter 2. The first part I want to review for a second is confirmation bias. We have facts, and we look at the facts and we filter them through our own filters, and people just can't agree on what the truth is because we can't agree what the facts are. Well, that's not true. We know what the facts are, we think, but we filter them differently and come to different conclusions. That's confirmation bias. We see and hear what fits our expectations. But now I want to talk to you about the truth. The truth is out there. But how do we get to the truth? Let's talk about that. 500-600 years ago, the truth was the earth was flat. There was no question in our minds that the earth was flat. If you stood on a mountain high enough, you could see off to the horizon the earth was flat. Of course, there were some hills and mountains and ups and downs and valleys, but essentially you could see the horizon was flat. And the truth was proven out by the facts as we knew them. Sailors would sail off to the horizon and not come back. So it was quite clear that they fell off the end of the earth, which was flat, and that was the end of it. Now, of course, it never occurred to people that these sailors would crash or weren't eaten by monsters or would sink. They just figured that was the truth as we knew it. And of course, 500-600 years ago, the smartest minds in the world were certain that the universe revolved around the earth. The earth was the center of the solar system, and that was proven by the facts, by the observations that we had. We could see the stars and the other planets circling around us in the sky. And the smartest minds of their day did all the calculations to prove why that was true. Now, 500 or 600 years have gone by, and we know that's not the truth. So what I'd like to do is make it mathematical. I don't want to have to argue about this with you. I want to explain it to you in a sort of a mathematical way. A fact is data plus analysis. That's what makes up a fact. We have data, we have observable phenomenon, and we have a chance to analyze these phenomena. Okay? That's a fact. It's data plus analysis. Now let's look at it sort of like an atom. Okay? We have data. This is incontrovertible. There is no questioning the data. But it has to go through analysis. We have to look at that data. We have to put it in some kind of frame of reference in order to come to what we believe are the facts. So if you think about it like an atom, you have the nucleus, which is the data, and you have protons and neutrons and electrons in varying ways floating around that data. You could call that the analysis, and you come out with a fact. That's an atom. That's the building block of truth. But here's the problem. As we talked about in confirmation bias, the facts can be rearranged in different ways to come out with different conclusions. If you take these atoms and put them together one way, you get one substance. And if you take these very same atoms and put them together in another way, you come out with a completely different compound. Confirmation bias. You can rearrange the facts to come out in different ways. If I have these incontrovertible facts and I run them through my filter, I'll come out with one conclusion, you'll come out with a different conclusion. So let's take it a little further. You take the data and the analysis and you come out with a fact, and then those facts are subject to time and perspective. We look at the world differently now than we did 200 years ago or 500 years ago. And you get to argue the case. We have predispositions. These are the things that I believe. We have opposition, people who challenge our beliefs. And we have debate. And if we have time and perspective and predisposition and opposition and debate, we can reach the truth. So that's it, right? We're done? Not exactly. Because what happens is we're constantly getting new data. And we're constantly reanalyzing it to change the facts. And time changes things. Perspective changes with time. And the debate begins again. And so the truth gets updated. The truth gets adjusted. And then the whole circle or cycle begins again because we get new data. So the data keeps changing, the analysis changes, the facts actually change. And then given certain time and perspective and debate, the truth is subject to change. But I've had an argument or a discussion with certain people who are quite smart, and they say, but there is one objective truth. And that's a fact. There is only one truth at a time. And if you understand that, and if you understand confirmation bias, and if you understand how people might see things differently than you do, you might be able to get to a truth that everyone can agree on.